the Sasitorn podcast.
Yes, you are listening to the Sasitorn podcast.
Hello guys.
Once again with the Sasitorn podcast. Welcome back. Where you can enjoy and learn, and we are so glad and happy to meet you guys. Hi everyone, I'm Ham.
Hello, I am Annie.
In the last episode, we talked about the synopsis, the protagonist, and the antagonist, right? In this episode, we're going to talk a bit about Korean history and the reflection we got after watching the series. As I said before, all characters in this series are more interesting, especially Ishan the Crown Prince, Sobi, and the Queen, and Jo Hak-ju. So make this series so many more interesting, right?
Yes, of course. I agree with you. This is the best series I have ever watched.
Undoubtedly. Did you know? I have been watching this one more than 3 times. It's just hilarious. Okay.
So, if you have considering watch this series, you will see many beautiful settings. The settings are composed by the abandoned mountains, rivers, and the palace. Those made us want to know more about Korean history in the age of Joseon.
As sources, Professor Dr. Damrong Chandi, the director of Center for Korean Studies in Lamkhamhaeng University, said that in the kingdom of Joseon's era was governed by an absolute monarchy. By the time, the king had the highest power of the kingdom. However, the king might have many sons, but there will be only one who will be chosen to be the crown prince and inherited the royal throne. That means the royal throne might be inherited only by the reasons it made the royalty try to take over the royal throne by killing each other. At the rest period, the kingdom was getting vacant because of the war with Japan and China. It made the king find difficulty to govern the kingdom, and there were a lot of rebels who wanted to take over the throne from both in and outside the territory. Can you see the relationships between the real history and the event in the series? It's like Jo Hak-ju who tried to get the queen to have a son in order to ascend to the throne instead Ishan, the crown.
Well, if Jo Hak-ju can't ascend the throne himself, so he tried to push his grandson, who's not born yet, out to be the king, right? I am confused. Why did he decide that?
I would say because he hadn't the right on the throne. I mean, as I said before, do you remember? The throne might be inherited only by blood. So, he was a nobility or grand chancellor, but he wasn't a royalty, so he can be the king.
But I think, he can kill or revolutionize when he was surely man on horseback of Joseon in that time. So, why did he complicate?
That's only his positive side, because he was conservative. He didn't want to break the rules that had been passed for generations. That's why he decided that.
Now I see the point.
Another thing, if you will notice, you will see that when the king was in severely sick, actually he passed away, and can't administer the kingdom anymore. Then the queen appointed herself up to become a queen regent and administer the kingdom instead of the king. Let's say the queen was applied herself up to be the empress of the kingdom and took the powers of administrator in her hand. By the time, the whole kingdom was in Johabju and the queen's hand. In some period time of Joseon dynasty, there were a prominent woman up to be the emperor of the kingdom. Follow the list below. The first one, the Queen Min Jae-yong, was the queen of King Ko-chong. She was known as Emperor Myeong-sok. Next, the Queen Min Jong was the queen regent of the King Myeong-jong, the 13th king of Joseon. She was mother of Myeong-jong. She was the queen in the King Jung-jong, the 11th king of Joseon. Next, the Queen In-sung was the queen regent of the King Chonjo, the 14th king of Joseon. She was the queen in the King Myeong-jong, the 13th king of Joseon. Finally, the Queen Chong-sun was the queen regent of King Sun-jo, the 23rd king of Joseon. She was his great-grandmother. She was the queen in the King Yongjo, the 21st king of Joseon. Can you see? There are women's rights even in the periods of time. Women can be leader, women can be the empress, and some of those ladies can move the kingdom to more glory and conquer in many wars. Women and men are equal. Not better, not worse. We are equal.
I'm with you. Women's rights is the part of our life even back then. More than 5 centuries ago, as a woman, we can do a lot of things. We can make this world. I just want to say to every woman out there, if you are watching this and you are suffering, if you are being abused by whomever, don't be discouraged. I'm with you. I feel you. Stand up and move on. Believe that there is a rainbow after a bad storm. Don't seek for any hero because the hero lies in you.
Wow! The best speech ever. You can deliver this in front of the freedom sculpture. You know it, right?
Oh yeah. Thank you. I just speak out what is on my mind. Well, did you know? After I watched this series, I immediately realized that people in that time were misery and poverty. They hadn't even had a piece of toast or food. Badly, even their inhabitants were bad and lack of good public health system. It might be because the king had passed away and the nobility were ignored and corruption. Well, if the kind of person like Johabju can be the man on horseback, how all the population would be?
In my personal opinions, as I have analyzed the whole series, I would say I'm not sure, maybe he can be a good king or he may not. If he is a good king, he would drive the kingdom to be more glory, or he may be a worse king. How do you think?
On my side, I see the different perspective from you. All I can say that he totally can be a good king if he or someone in his family, especially his nephew or the queen, take control the kingdom. Then they're going to be a dictator. I am pretty sure there is no sense of positive side as a good king in them.
There's another aspect. Everybody out there, do you agree with us? As many zombie movies, the cause of the violence or zombie is often caused by the wrong experiment of scientists. But the events in Kingdom the series is happened in the period of time. In that time, I'm sure that there are not any scientists. So what is the cause of the violence? In this series, there was no zombie violence initially, but actually it was smallpox violence. The king has inflicted the virus and passed away. But by the time the consort queen was pregnant, so Chombueng had to do every single way to take back the queen from the dead. His true purpose was to appoint his grandson to be a new crown prince by the king. So he exiled to the physically formed Tongli to do whatever way to taking the king back. And the physician found an herb that can take the king back to life again. That's what the beginnings of mutation of the smallpox virus became the zombie virus. So I prefer to call the virus as smallpox virus, which combine with smallpox virus and zombie. I name it by myself. I can name it right because in reality there is no zombie virus. Actually, the beginning of the virus is not different. It's occur from drug or herb, but the difference is the purpose of using that drug or herb.
All majority of zombie movie, the cause of the virus is unintentionally or accidentally, but in this series, precisely knew that the king who back from death would turn into a zombie by using his drug. It means the beginning of the virus in this series is intentionally to let it occur. Everyone out there, do you agree with us? Please tell us what's in your mind about this.
The lately zombie movie I watched is Train to Busan. The movie is from Korea as well, and the beginning of the virus is as same as Kingdom the series.
I see. Well, from the movie, in your opinion, what is the scariest in the series? Zombie, poverty, or what?
I think zombie and people are scary, but I prefer people to zombie.
Why do you think that? On my perspective, zombie is truly more terrible than people.
On your perspective, it could be that, but in my personal opinion, I think zombie is scarier, but it has no emotion. It doesn't know what is right or wrong. It just follows the raw instinct inside. It's just the violent, but for people who get a good education and had a gift from nature, the intelligence, sometimes they can destroy others in order to taking what they want without any caring of others. This kind of people that I think is more terrible than zombie. And it is Chombueng, the queen and their company.
Oh, you made me recall some poetry of the greatest Siam artist, Sasitorn Let me think. I can recall Sasitorn said that, then instruct to beware man's mind. It's immeasurable depth, even so bend and treatise of wine, not as bend as a treatise mind. แล้วสอนว่าอย่าไว้ใจมนุษย์มันแสนสุดลึกล้ำเหนือกำหนดถึงเถาวัลย์พันเกลียวที่เลี้ยวลดหรือจะคดเหมือนหนึ่งในน้ำใจคน That verse is from his best masterpiece สุดสาคร and I want to dedicate this for all of you out there. There's nothing deeper than human mind, even the ocean. จิตใจมนุษย์นั้นยากแท้อย่างถึงแลลึกดุจดั่งมหาสมุทร Finally, I just want to admonish you that we are all live in the society mess. Everybody wear the mask all the time. So, live your life carefully. Love you all.
Wow, well said, Annie. Okay, alright. I have just now told you a bit about Korean history and the reflections of the series. And once again, with running time, I have lit the set of fascinating vocabulary. The last episodes, we taught you about noun and verb. So today is the time for adjective. So I'm gonna focus on adjectives only. Okay? Let's take a look. The first one is hilarious. Hilarious หมายความว่าเฮฮาหรือสนุกสนาน Next immeasurable immeasurable แปลว่ามากมายไม่มีขอบเขต relevant relevant หมายความว่าเข้าเรื่องตรงประเด็น Next equal equal แปลว่าเสมอภาค interesting interesting น่าสนใจ pregnant pregnant ตั้งครรภ์ perspective perspective หมายความว่าได้สัดส่วน greatest greatest ใหญ่ที่สุด twisted twisted บิดเบี้ยวไม่ปกติ terrible terrible ร้ายแรงสยดสยอง next absolute absolute แน่นอนหรือจริง discourage discourage ท้อใจหรือหมดกำลังใจ next scaried scaried น่ากลัว positive positive บวกหรือมั่นใจ The last one is raw raw ดิบหรือหยาบ So what is adjective adjective a word or phrase naming an attribute added to or grammatically related to a noun to modify or describe it, making your writing and speaking much more specific and a whole lot more interesting. จากที่กล่าวมานะคะ adjective คือคำวลีหรือประโยคซึ่งใช้อธิบายหรือขยายคำนามหรือสรรพนามให้ได้ความหมายที่ชัดเจนยิ่งขึ้นกล่าวก็คือเป็นการบอกให้รู้ถึงลักษณะคุณสมบัติของคำนามหรือคำสรรพนามนั้นว่าเป็นอย่างไรค่ะ Adjective has many types such as articles. Next, possessive adjectives. Next, demonstrative adjective. Next, coordinate adjective. And then numbers adjective. Next, interrogative adjective. Next, indefinite adjective. And the last one is accusative adjectives. For example, interrogative adjective are used to discuss non-specific things. You might recognize them since they are formed from indefinite pronouns. Example, some of those ready can move the kingdom to more glory and conquer in many wars. Next, numbers adjective. When they are used in the sentence, numbers are almost always adjective. You can tell that a number is an adjective when it answers the question, how many? Okay. For example, the Queen Songsun was the queen in the King Jongjo, the 21st king of Joseon. So, I focus on fascinating of adjective. There are lots of words that you need to know more. The first one is initially แปลว่าตอนแรกหรือเริ่มแรกหรือในขั้นแรกเป็นต้นค่ะ Next, experiment แปลว่าการทดลอง Administer แปลว่าจัดการในบริบทของ Kingdom the Series นะคะในเรื่องนี้แปลว่าปกครองค่ะ after that revolutionize แปลว่าปฏิวัติ model law แปลว่ากฎมนเทียนบานค่ะ finally admonish แปลว่าตักเตือนค่ะ That is for today. It is the time to say a farewell. See you next episode. Keep your eye on. Stay tuned, guys.
Bye
Bye bye.